Okay, you're interested in making money doing property inspections, but you're thinking, I don't have any construction experience. I've never even been on a roof. There's no way that I qualify for this. What if I told you that some of the most successful people doing this work came from law enforcement, the military, education, nursing, and had zero construction background when they started? I'm Matt, and I've been in the insurance industry for nearly 30 years, and in this video, we're continuing my conversation with Noah from Hancock Claims, and he's going to break down exactly what they look for in their field consultants, and you might be surprised to find out that the skills that make you successful in this role have almost nothing to do with knowing how to swing a hammer. We're talking about soft skills, mindset, and the kind of person who thrives in this work. And honestly, it sounds a lot like what makes a good adjuster as well. But first, are you looking for the #1 resource for damage identification books, trainings, and certifications, as well as virtual trainings and even desk adjuster trainings? Well, you can get these and many more industry standard certifications right now at hageeducation.com and use code AdjusterTV at checkout. All right, let's get into this starting now. So you call your field folks consultants, is that right? So talk about like when you're sort of evaluating a candidate to be a consultant, what does like this person like ideally look like to you guys?
Previously, we look for some type of construction background, right? Almost the same thing that a carrier might look for. Do you have any experience in any of the trades that obviously, we have to go out and look at? As that kind of evolved and we expanded, the focus shift really towards soft skills. I know that's going to sound a little ergo on focus, but what we notice is that there are more and more people involved in the claim file, right? So you can have a public adjuster, you can have the contractor, you can have the engineer, right? And how do we all work well together, right? So industries that we might not have considered. So, all right, former military, right? Former police force, firemen, people that can work in stressful situations where they might need to make a good call and then at the same time have the soft skills to kind of navigate that. But from a inspector standpoint, it's not just industry experience. The other thing we look at is we have independent adjusters that work for us, right? We have adjusters that were adjusters. They left that industry and they just want to be subcontractors, right? So that whole makeup has really, I'd say vegetable soup is probably not the best thing, but it is literally a makeup of all these key ingredients so that, we provide the best product possible back to the carrier. And, that starts with the knowledge assessment for us internally. We have a ride-along phase that once they enter, right, we want to make sure you can climb that roof, but soft skills, what the carriers are requiring, right? What documentation needs to be uploaded into the claim file. All of that is baked into this so that when the ride-along is done, you are your own entity, right? You have your own workman's comp, your own limited liability. We send out the assignments. Since it's subcontractor based, you have an opportunity to refuse that work, right? It's just like, if I call a sheetrock guy and want to get a quote, he comes out to my house. He doesn't have to come out, right? And so You get to choose that, right? You also, I can't tell you when you can and can't work. So you get to let us know when you can and can't work, right? And so it's probably similar to that IA workflow and maybe from just a character makeup base. For us, the soft skills are the most important. Right after being able to climb the roof, because that's how customer service in this industry, everybody is looking at that, the KPIs, the quality, right? All of that is top notch, 98%. What's the return on an investment? And I've even seen some of these KPIs where it is down to, would they refer your neighbor or past experience? Would they refer said person to this carrier? It comes down to
the number one.
It's the number one.
That's all they want to know.
And you could there's 100 different points along that process where you could mess that up and it could really derail that KPI. And that's why I think the soft skills are so important. But from a makeup standpoint, the carrier, former military, former law enforcement, educators, we even see this. It's a second job, so they've retired, right? They enjoy being outside. We even have that makeup, and so the way we have to look at this is if there's different talents and different pools, and even makeup of what we have, I have to have a full circle, right? So that the one the one that wants to be off, there's no problem with them being off because I have X, Y, and Z resources lined up to ensure, there's no gaps in, I can't turn something off, right? I can't turn a service area off. I can't decline a claim, right? We want to make sure that we can do it as quickly as possible because we're held to those cycle times, right? Just like an adjuster would be. We have contractual agreements that, hey, there's penalties if we don't do well, right? And of course, there's also the fear of if I don't do well, then we don't get the work. Well, that means I'm not doing my job, right? And I would have to be held accountable to that. So
yep.
It's probably very similar to what you guys see too.
Oh, for sure. And I think that, you talk about when we first started talking, you were talking about your law enforcement background. It's pretty parallel to the independent adjusting side. I think that's, when you say like military law enforcement, those kinds of folks, it's not so much that for people watching this, it's like, well, that's who we only pick. It's that's kind of an archetype of the background that a person has that's going to be pretty successful in this. They have sort of an analytical brain a little bit. They have the ability to kind of see outside themselves and to walk into a situation and think, how am I going to, first of all, especially on the insurance side, how am I going to help this person? Number one, right? And then followed by, now I have to pull out my investigation toolkit out and, evaluate the facts of the loss, talk to the insured. Again, the insured is paying for this service, right? So you want to be, you have to have that understanding of that. But it's anybody I don't have any of those backgrounds, and I did great at this, and I think it's because those kinds of things, were the key things. And when I first got started doing claims, I was not good at it until something clicked, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm thinking about this backwards. And once I figured out, the little tweak, then I was off to the races with it. So in other words, long story short, as far as say somebody who's maybe they got a season or two as an adjuster under their belt, or they're brand new to this and they're looking for ways to kind of backfill in the off season. You're looking for people who have that sort of mindset and characteristic, and you're probably going to be, it's not so much the things that are on their resume, although that is important. It's going to be the conversations that you have, the phone calls, the Zoom calls, etc. And then once you start to onboard them, then it's obviously you have a training program, and you want to make sure you want to go out there with them for OJT basically, and make sure that they see how the work is done, and then they show that they can do the work, and then away they go, right?
Yeah. And I remember when it clicked for me, one, actually seeing damage, right? So not just inspecting, but you get to a good hailstorm, right?
Yeah.
You instantly, your eyes open and you're like, oh, yeah, all right, that's what it looks like. Then it turned into everything that my eye sees is a line item on an estimate. As soon as that clicked for me, my details that I provided got better because instead of I'm just going through the motions, and what I mean is I had a workflow, right? I was going to do the front slope, the back slope, the left slope, the right slope. This is what I was going to document. This was how I was going to label my photos. But then I got to the why. Right? You get to the why behind what you were told to do or taught to do. As soon as you got it clicked for me, the line items, all right, now I can be more proficient because I'm providing better detail because I know what is needed to write the estimate. Yeah.
So we could spend hours talking about the epiphanies and the moments. But let's drill down into a candidate's resume a little bit here. Certifications, other kinds of trainings that you guys are maybe kind of on the lookout for, or that you prefer for somebody coming in to have?
Obviously, for us, every inspector has to have a vehicle that can hold a 32-foot ladder, right? That's a requirement we have. The other, from just a requirement standpoint, what that you've got to pass background checks, right? You got to pass drug screening, right? From just certifications, obviously, prior adjuster experience or certifications or licenses, but Hague for us is the industry standard, right? So, Hague residential, that's a plus. At the same time, within the first 90 days, we will send them to Hague to do the residential. We'll send them to Hague we calibrate to Hague standards in those ride-along processes. Hague, they like to have that 100 roofs under your belt before you can take that course. I completely understand that, because you kind of have, if you were to just take that course and not have any knowledge, I think you would struggle, right? So get some real world experience inspecting some roofs and knowing what you're looking at. But those are kind of just the requirements. We start with residential. We can go to the commercial piece, right? For us, that's more of a management perspective, because obviously you want somebody seasoned when you're looking at the TPOs or the mod bits, right? For hail, especially for hail. So that's kind of what we're looking for. At the same time, we assist in helping you get to that Hague, right? Get that one under your belt. That's the industry standard. I had to take it in a hotel. Now it's offered online, right? And it's cheaper than what I had to pay for many years ago. But you get to even see technology take place in that aspect, right? So Hague was filled out on a Scantron, and now we get to do it over a web camera.
Are your consultants, are they using Xactimate at all, or any estimating programs?
So we have carriers that require us to use Xact or Totality, Symbility, right? The inspectors, though, in the field, they are not in Xact or Totality. So they're actually not the ones doing the estimate. They're the ones just producing we call it a PIF, which is the property inspection form. They're filling that out. If the carrier has requested us to fill out that estimate for them, that's when it goes to our licensed desk team.
Gotcha. So you mentioned a vehicle that can handle a 32-foot ladder. Funny story for you. I recently finally got rid of it, but I had a 2007 4Runner, and it was the V8, and I ended up I put 576,000 miles on it. Still runs great, but I ran that vehicle carry a 24-foot extension ladder and a 32-foot extension ladder. But when I was doing ladder assist for Allstate in New Jersey, and I rented a 40-foot ladder and drove around with a 40-foot ladder on that thing. And, it worked, but 40-foot ladders, one guy handling a 40-foot ladder is,
all right,
challenging.
So trick of the trade. I had a F-150. It had 207,000 miles on it. I think it was Matthew that skirted the coast of Florida and the Carolinas. So I'm over in the Mount Pleasant area, and I'm on the water. I need a 40-foot ladder. I used the sidewalk to jam the ladder in place. Yeah. So feet wouldn't move, and then I had to walk it up. And I'm 6 foot. I'm 200 pounds on a good day. So, all right, 3 stories up for me is a challenge. Now, we have other people that's not a worry whatsoever, but a 40-foot ladder, I think, looks silly on anything, whether it's a rental or if it's an SUV. Personally, the wife had an '05 4Runner with a V8, and it was totaled, and I was sad because I know that vehicle could have gone 300,000, and it was at 150. Oh, yeah. I mean, people say it's about diesels, but that's just barely broken in on a Toyota, or at least the Toyotas back then. So as far as equipment goes, a vehicle
that's reliable. I always tell people when they get started, don't go out and don't go buy anything. If you have something that's a good foundation, even if it's a car, well, at least on the adjusting side, that you could put a luggage rack on, take it to, a trusted mechanic and just say, find everything wrong with it. Bring it up completely to current on the maintenance schedule. Even if we don't know, like I bought this car 2 years ago and I haven't done the water pump on it, so I don't know. Do all that stuff. I replaced the radiator on my 4Runner proactively. And that's to me, that's money much better spent on a vehicle than going out and buying something brand new that you're going to put a lot of wear and tear on. But also, like, what about like laptops and iPads and snapshot cameras and things like that? Like, what are your field guys people use? I keep saying guys, but I know you have everybody. I mean that's to encompass everybody.
I understand that. So everything is web-based for us. We're releasing an app next year. We did supply tablets in the past, right? So, but now with the application, our own app, obviously the security that is required, like we're SOC 2 certified, right? So all of that has to be in place. You've got PMI, all of that stuff for this app to launch. That's why we're going to transition away from tablets. There's other technology out there right now where LiDAR is used, right? And Samsung doesn't support that. So that's actually Apple based. So we're having to make a move just because the industry is, right? From a LiDAR standpoint, Apple products, right? That Apple's the only one that supports it, right? So it's not like we're choosing a fan. That's the product, right? And so we have to use that. Other things that, you had made mention about going in to get your vehicle updated or checked. Just simple tricks of the trade. I always had extra cougar paw pads because you don't want to be deployed and need them. I always kept a small saw in my toolbox. And the reason why, you never know that GPS is going to take you down a road and there's a tree limb, right, that you have to cut. I had a gas can. I had lights, batteries. In my own truck, I had a stand so I could work on my computer, right? Because you're in there all the time. Electrolytes. I used ravioli in cans because I didn't have a microwave. But you knew how hot it would be in Florida, so technically your vehicle could heat that food up for you. So you just plan all of these things because what you don't want to have happen is you're deployed. The demand for you as a person is up, right? You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines because you can't go complete inspections because your vehicle's, in the shop.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, that goes, I'm going to try to rent a vehicle because I know that I have a potential to make more money than what it costs to rent a vehicle. And I've even explored, is it cheaper for me to go rent a Home Depot work van because I can't go to National to rent maybe there's no car rentals available, right?
Right.
So we've explored all options because when there's a hurricane, people need help. And that it comes back to being prepared. It's that Boy Scouts motto. It's being prepared, making sure all your vehicle maintenance is up double or triple of what you think you may need.
And if you want to know exactly what these inspections pay and how much money you can realistically make doing this work, click on this video right here. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great storm.